It's highly creepy, highly vibey. I feel like I'm in a horror movie. The thing moved.
I think this is the most amazing graveyard I've ever seen anywhere in the world. This week, Ghost Next Door is in Whitby on the northeast coast of Yorkshire. Whitby is the home of a very famous novel by Bram Stoker called Dracula, and that gives you a sense of what kind of place Whitby is. We're going to be investigating the vibes of this place and seeing what we can channel and what we can pick up. So stay tuned because it's going to be amazing.
The abbey is a skeleton of what it once was, but you can tell that its original state, it would have been glorious, beautiful, gothic.
It's very beautiful, but there's quite like an underlying darkness. I think that goes for the whole of Whitby, really, not just this place, but yeah, it's like a beautiful darkness.
It seems like a very magical place, so I wonder what we'll find.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. It's really beautiful here. I feel like if I was a really young child, I would have loved to have come here to go to the beaches and play in the sand, but I feel like as I would have grown older into a teenager, I would have definitely liked to come to the haunted houses and check out the whole Dracula theme. So yeah, it's fun for everyone, really.
Actually, I am fascinated by Dracula. I went to Romania and I visited Brad's castle, which is where Dracula actually came from in a novel. It's where he lived. So when I went there, I actually got recognition, which says a lot about my past lives. I know. So actually coming to Whitby is like kind of completing that cycle, that circle of like, I don't know, it's discovering the Dracula myth, coming to terms with it.
What do you mean by you got recognition?
I lived there in a past life, so when I went through the castle, I could tell you which each room was. And I got this overwhelming sense of pride. I know, just only me.
Actually, now I think about it, Jenny, your incisors do seem to be unfeasibly long.
No.
Go on, I wanted to say this all day, but I mean, you know, they are.
I don't want to draw attention to my teeth, Simon.
You did those two that are quite, yeah.
A bit long and bitey.
Unusually vampirish.
Well, too close to me, I'll bite you. We always focus on my past lives on this show of me being a witch, but there's many other past lives for me.
Well, I'm focusing on your teeth right now. You little vampire.
Stop it.
Do you think you are?
I don't know, maybe.
She said so casually.
I used to be obsessed with vampires when I was obsessed with vampires all through my teen years.
You see?
Obsessed. All my friends were obsessed.
You'd be the vampire clan. And now you've come back to your vampire home.
I don't
sort of holiday
I don't
home,
know
should I say.
I don't know how many vampires there are in Whitby.
Well, none apparently.
Apparently none.
I don't think vampires exist now. I think that people draw people's energy. Like, you know, those people that you meet who are so tiring that after you go away you just feel exhausted. But I don't think people go around biting necks, do they?
I actually think that the modern form of vampirism isn't a physical body, it's an energy that sucks on a person's soul. So it steals the energy of another person. They can latch onto humans, steal your energy, or they can just be around, stealing your energy. I think that's what a vampire is.
Does that resonate with you, Isabella?
Yeah, I definitely feel like there's such thing as like energy vampires, shall I say. People just, I don't know, I feel like some people do it consciously, some people do it subconsciously. They just draw in the energy from others and you feel really tired after being with them and really drained. Some locations that we've been to actually felt like a massive vampire. Just like sucked the life out of us. But yeah, there are them out there.
Do you think you're a drain or a radiator?
No, I feel like because when people are around me, they tell me that they feel really like happy, and I sort of like
which means you're a radiator.
Bubbliness. Yeah,
she's a radiator.
You're a drain or a radiator, Jenny?
I think I'm a radiator, but I could drain if I wanted to. I'm just joking. I'm a radiator.
We're in Yorkshire, which is famed for its delicacy of black pudding. Are you a fan of black pudding, which is made with blood, Jenny?
I really love black pudding, but I actually prefer Scottish black pudding.
Well, he would do, being a Scot.
I know. But gotta get that iron somehow.
How about you, Isabella? Are you a fan of blood pudding?
Actually makes me feel a bit sick, and also I'm a vegetarian, so that makes me double feel sick. But even when I was a meat eater, I have always found black pudding the most gross, grim thing on this earth, because why would you want to eat blood? That's so disgusting.
But it tastes really good.
No, it doesn't.
It's really tasty.
Do you think it'd be possible to be a vegetarian vampire? Do you think you could imagine being a vegetarian vampire?
I think probably not. I feel like I'm more of a cow. I do really like my veggies. Not about that sucking blood life.
Guys, point out, she called herself a cow.
I actually genuinely love cows.
She
They're
does.
such generous, kind souls. I feel like that resonates with me.
And what's your what do you think is going to happen tonight once the sun goes down here in Whitby?
I'm sure ask Dracula. If he makes an appearance, which he probably will, with Mr. Vampire over here, he might come and say hey to his.
But we just said that there's no vampires. We'll probably find witches and ghosts, spirits.
Yeah, probably more ghosts.
This is quite an old town, so there's going to be a lot of activity, I suspect.
I've visited Whitby a few times, and what I love about this town is what a contradiction it is, and how varied the life is here. Because it used to be a really busy fishing port, and was a port in its own right, and is now pretty much a tourist attraction, which as it should be, because it's a great place to visit on holiday, very popular with the Yorkshire people. And I love coming here because it's really atmospheric. It does have a dark undertow, which is always a tick in the box for me, and I'm already beginning to feel that there are all sorts of spirits here that are calling to us and calling to me, and I have a hunch that this is going to turn into a really interesting evening. Well, that's set the scene for this week's show up here at the Abbey, hasn't it?
It has.
You excited?
Yeah, been nervous but excited at the same time, always.
So, shall we make our way down with Jenny and look at the 199 steps and get into the town and see what's awaiting us?
Let's do it. Maybe Dracula will be waiting for us on the other side. But
Let's go. So this is the place we should come back tonight. St Mary's Church. How spooky is this graveyard? It stretches for hundreds of yards in that direction on the side of the hill here. I think when it gets dark, this is going to be a very, very atmospheric place.
That was ominous. This church is very beautiful. It looks out over the sea. We've only been here for a short period of time, but already I can tell there's a lot of spirits hanging around this graveyard. I'm shielding my eyes because I can't deal with the sun. Clearly channeling my vampire vibes today. It's interesting. During the day, it's a very different place. In the evening, you definitely have to come to these places and experience them when it's dark. As the vibes have changed completely.
Darkness has fallen now here in Whitby, and we're on our way back up to St Mary's churchyard to see what we can find. We go to all manner of places on Ghosts Next Door, which have all kinds of energies. Whitby is surrounded by ghosts. There are so many energies swirling around us and have been all day that you'd think that they would wear me out, because that's what they normally do. They act like a drain on me. They just take all my energy out of me. But tonight in Whitby, I'm feeling extremely chipper and extremely upbeat. I'm really looking forward to getting to the top of the 199 steps at St Mary's Church and going into the graveyard and hanging out with all the dead people. If you're into this, that'll make total sense, but if you're not, it'll sound a bit nuts. But then it's the nature of the business, really. I think this is the most amazing graveyard I've ever seen anywhere in the world, bar none. It is quite incredible. It looks like a movie set. You couldn't build a place that looks spookier. All the long grass and these dark headstones kind of rising out of the grass. You can imagine a bit of mist here in the morning. It's just amazing. It's so atmospheric. And on that note, there's somebody standing behind you, by the way. Hang on, sorry, as I turned around there was somebody else standing between you. That was really weird. So I'm going to douse now with my crystal. Can you see that, Jenny? Mm-hmm. And I'm going to tune in and ask it to show me the energy here. What I want to see is it going around in a clockwise direction, and what I am seeing is it going from side to side, which means the very definite presence of spirit. Don't ask me why that is, but that's just the way it always works. When I douse over a Reiki client when I'm working and their energy is very good, it goes around in a clockwise direction. And when I douse over them when it's not good and they've got something attached to them, it does this. When it's really bad, it actually doesn't move at all. But this, you'd kind of expect this. This means that there are spirits here, and it's giving it that energy, and it's giving it that sort of time signature, if you like. And whenever I do this, actually, it really helps me tune in, because I start to consciously tune in to the spirit energy to get this signal. And then when I tune in, I start to connect, and I'm starting to connect now. I'm starting to connect to all these souls that are buried around us, because we are surrounded by them. And I know people who will not walk across a graveyard because they just can't walk on the remains of a person. It's not true in our case, but I have to say I am loving this. This is amazing, beautiful. Some people like to go to race courses or museums. I like to go to museums. And some people like to go to graveyards in Whitby at 11 o'clock at night, and that is definitely my new favourite. So I think it's time that we all began to tune in to see what we connect to.
So we are currently in the graveyard of St Mary's Church. It's highly creepy, highly vibey. I feel like I'm in a horror movie. And the grass is extremely overgrown, which makes it look extra scary.
This is actually my first time in a graveyard at night time. Probably surprises you. But yeah.
It's pretty scary.
I actually like it. It's very, you said before, it's really cinematic.
It's very eerie, but very calm at the same time. I feel quite afraid, but quite calm at the same time. It's quite conflicting emotions.
We have the abbey in the background as well, which is also amazing lit up at night time.
Yeah. Indeed, there's several spirits around already.
I can understand why Whitby inspires so many people. Like we've talked about Bram Stoker before, but I think there's been many others that have taken this place for inspiration for films or for other novels. It's very easy to grasp why.
I see that. Definitely. You could write a movie from this place. Simon, only you would make us do this. Oh my god.
You love it. You love it, really.
Oh my god, what's all this?
Just follow me. I want to. Okay.
Only you guys enjoy going to graveyards at night time, because I don't. Not at all.
You'll look back on this next month and go, how amazing, what an amazing experience that was.
True. I will remember it, just right now I'm not really liking the craziness.
Well, embrace it.
Crap.
Embrace
You
it.
okay?
Something is really spiking my leg there.
Stop being frightened, embrace it, enjoy it, and submerge yourself in it.
Careful, that bit's gonna flick up. Just step on it there. It's gonna flick up. Oh, crap. You okay? Yeah. I need to get on that long grass.
I think over here a bit. Jenny?
Yeah.
You're going to love this.
What?
Can you lie on that thing while I film you?
No.
Oh, come on.
Simon.
Go on. Now that you've got your super witchy powers from Pendle, why don't you lie on that thingy there? See what you pick up.
Simon thinks it's hilarious that I lived in Romania in a past life, and because we're here in Dracula land, he wants me to get up on top of this thing.
Go on then.
Oh my god.
Please.
It's actually quite pleasant to be out of the grass.
Just a bit done already.
He did.
Have you noticed how every time we have to do something slightly difficult, Jenny and Isabella always blame me and said, Simon's told me to do something. Well, I guess that's true, because if I didn't, then we'd all just stand around looking at each other. But I think this place is really special. Now, what I want you to do is I want you to lie down. And look at the sky.
Look at the sky.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully there's lots of stars around. There's no stars tonight. The thing moved.
Well, that's because I leant on it.
What? Like?
No.
You don't have the strength to make. You don't have the strength to move that.
Well, maybe it didn't. Just relax and lie down and stop mucking about.
Not much of a boat.
I'll hold you. Come on. I got you.
I'm lying on top of someone's grave. This is not respectful.
It's good telly though. Just lie down. Come on, I want to do my bit.
Oh my god.
Lie on my hand. There we go. Jenny, when I first met you a couple of years ago, you were in a really weird sort of vampiric stage. And the first image I got from you, and I always get really strong images from people when I first shake their hand or connect to them, was sort of in this position, but in a satanic cult surrounded by vampires. And this is how you met your death in a previous life, and I think you know that, don't you?
Well, it's one of many ways I've met my death.
But you were abused and killed as part of ritual. And rituals, illegal, like voodoo in most African states, is a very serious crime. And it's illegal in this country because people abuse it. But yes, again, I feel that all the way through the day, like so many times when we're filming, we've been led to do a certain thing, or we've been led to a particular place. And I think this is it, this very spot. Because for you to expunge previous memories, things that still haunt you, that you still think about, that you still have nightmares about, you need to face it. And you need to connect to what you saw, what you experienced, what happened to you, horrible as it was, horrible that it was, and look at it and know that you're no longer frightened of it and it's no longer your karma. So this is your moment to release that, let that go. And the spirits who are here will understand that and support that, because the one thing that all humans and spirits want is for people to be free. Because spirits who are trapped, the only thing they want is to be free, and they don't know how to do it. And they need people like us to connect to them and help them in that process, in the way that I want to help you now in that process. So I want you to allow yourself to be free of that memory, to be free of that karmic energy, from that karmic hold, and let it go. This is your moment to let that whole experience go, and for you to move on in the way that you have done with so much over the last couple of years, and move on, step forward into your light, and be you, and be separated from that memory.
We've spent maybe 2 hours in the cemetery in Whitby now, and we've experienced quite a lot of activity. We keep seeing in a peripheral vision spirits walking past, or they've been coming quite close, haven't they?
Yeah, I keep catching them sort of like in the corner of my eye, like just they sort of turn to my right or left, and
yeah, this place is pretty amazing. It's beautiful, and also there is activity here, so it's definitely worth visiting if you're into ghosts.
Definitely. But yeah, we've had a great evening here. It's been really interesting and spooky.
Yeah, actually the next stage we're going back to our hotel because we found out that it's one of the most haunted places in Whitby. Of course, Simon booked it.
And we're staying in the most haunted rooms as well, which is going to be extra fun.
Yeah, so we're going to go. we're going to go and see what happens. Then hopefully we can sleep after.
Hopefully. Oh my god, I really hope so.
I know.
We're now back at our hotel, the Bagdale Hall, which is one of the most famously haunted places in Whitby, and of course we had to stay here. And our last task in the show tonight is to do a little channeling in the room where I'm staying. So we're going to connect to the spirits if we can in my room, then we're going to go to bed for the night, and I'm going to update you in the morning on how I slept. We're now comfortably back in my room at Bagdale Hall, one of Whitby's most haunted venues, and I'm going to get a little bit of action going with my crystal here. So I'm going to start to tune in and see what spirit activity there is here, if any, because sometimes people tell us that something's amazingly active and it's all just PR, but that is moving from side to side in a very pronounced way, in the same way that it was in the graveyard up at St Mary's Church. And that tells me very emphatically that this is somewhere where there is definite spirit activity. It's a pretty big movement. So that's stage one of how I can get a benchmark of spirit activity in this room. The other one is with my trusty, slightly battered EMF meter, which I haven't switched on yet, so I don't know what this is going to do, but this measures the electromagnetic field in the room. Not the electric field, the electromagnetic field is a big difference. And I discovered about 10 years ago that this gadget that I'm holding, as well as being able to get a very good reading off a microwave, will also give me a good indication of spirit activity. Now normally I'd expect it to be at just above 1, where it is now, when I switch it on, which is kind of average electrical background. You know, there are a couple of lights on here, that's it. I've switched the TV off at the wall, there are no electric heaters, all our phones are off, there's nothing going on. So let's turn this onto the most sensitive setting and see what that does, which amazingly is quite a lot. That should be down at 0, and it's showing almost half. They've also got the heating on in here. It's the middle of summer and they've got all the radiators on full blast, and it's not exactly boiling, I have to say. Why would you have the radiators on in the middle of the summer? You know, it's 25 degrees outside, 23, 25 degrees. And they've got the radiators going full blast here. It's a bit strange.
This is really weird. I'm getting like tingles on my chin, and now it's spread to this part, and it feels really painful. It really hurts, like here. It's really weird.
Why do you think that is?
I don't know. Do you think it's because they show me how they died? Or like why does it hurt here?
It could be a residue.
It's really strange. It started off like tingles here, and then it just went to like there, like here.
Do you think maybe somebody was had a spike stuck into their neck and they were murdered, like, or stabbed in the neck with a knife?
I don't know. My whole body just went really tingly.
That chair. I was sat in this chair earlier and I kept feeling a breeze. Like there was a breeze so strong my hair moved, and none of the windows in the room are open or anything. And we've swapped places now. And now you're getting all the attention. So I don't know if this is probably, your seat is probably his seat.
Well, seeing as how I'm the person staying in this room tonight, should we swap seats, because you seem to be both picking something up in this chair?
Yeah.
Let me sit here and see if I pick anything up. something moving there. There's like shimmering lines coming up there. Yeah, this is the seat, isn't it? Definitely. It's like sitting down into somebody. Do you think he was sitting here when somebody... Do you think he committed suicide here? That's what I think. I don't think it was that long ago. I think somebody came here with the express intention of committing suicide in this room. And they sat in this chair and they took an overdose. They took pills and drank, sat in this chair, and then waited until they died. And I think that is the, I think that's the spirit that's occupying this room. Somebody came here who was really depressed, wanted to end their life, and they did it sitting in this very chair. We've intentionally not asked the managers of the hotel for any information about the circumstances of any of these situations, because once you're told, then it's very easy to start sort of guessing and drawing conclusions. So I have no idea what went down in this room. What we do know is that the guy who built this hotel originally in 1512 was executed for treason against the king. But I don't think that's who it is. I think he may be a contributory factor around the hotel, but I don't think that's who it is. Oh God, he had children. He had children, he killed them too. Oh dear. He strangled them both in that bed. Maybe not that exact bed, but where that bed is. He killed his children before he killed himself. Do you know, I actually wish sometimes that we didn't get to see things like this, we didn't get shown things like this. And what does shown mean? Shown means you suddenly get an image in your head that wasn't there before, that hasn't come from anywhere. It just, 1 minute it's not there, the next minute it is, and once it's there and it stays there. And I've been doing this for a long time, and I can tell the difference between having a memory or a thought and a piece of information being planted in your head, because it just pops into your head like a slide coming up, or something coming up in your computer. It just pops up, nothing to do with me at all, it's just there. And what I'm getting is 2 children, a little boy and a girl. He brought them here. He and his wife had split up. He killed the children in that bed, his own children. He strangled them to death. And then he came and sat in this chair and just kept on taking pills until he slumped into unconsciousness and was found dead the next day. And it wasn't that long ago. It was maybe 10 years ago. I want to talk about portals. Portals means a door, and in spirit terms, a portal is where the spirit will come in, or actually multiple spirits, because portals are like the sliding doors in Sainsbury's. When they open, all manner of things come and go, and it's a mistake to think that a property is going to have one ghost. And in this place, the portal, I think, is in the corner of the room by the TV. As I say, I turn the TV off. This is getting a higher reading than anywhere else in the room. It's also really flicking around a lot. I can't tell you how unprecedented it is to get that kind of level of reading in a room. That is really, really high. That is really high. And that is indicative of a lot of spirit presence. And I think that there's a portal here, and spirits just come and go as they please into this room through the door. You just imagine people walking in here from hundreds and hundreds of years apart, and then walking out again, because for some reason there is a portal here. And you can actually feel the change in temperature here. It's warm here, and then it's colder above the radiator. It's no wonder that people complain about the temperature in this room and say how cold it is. And these radiators are going full blast. I mean, that is hot to the touch. You see how that's really flicking around? Can you see that? I think it's time that we turned in. We're already tired. It's been a really, really long day. It's been a brilliant day. Really, really interesting. Whitby is a fantastic place. But it's time for bed now, and I'll see you on the other side in the morning. So there's this sign over the back of the bed in my room saying, "And so to bed, perchance to dream." Well, what a joke that was. I went to bed, didn't sleep. Because I couldn't sleep, I amused myself by taking pictures in the dark with my little compact camera, and I took some pretty strange things, it has to be said. But that's a very clear indication of the change in energy, down from halfway on the meter down to a very flickery 2 or 3.
After experiencing Whitby, I've came to the conclusion that there are obviously lots of spirits here because it's a very old port town, but I think the beauty of the place and the kind of really positive kind of magical energy here is what creates the inspiration for people. I don't think there's actually a lot of like dark entities in this place.
I agree. Yeah, it's very heavy. Like it's very like you're very, how to explain that? Just lots of spirit energy condensed in one sort of small space, but it's not malevolent, just like you were saying. Like it's not dark energies. It's just very compact. Like a lot of heavy energy everywhere.
Would you come here for your holidays?
Would I come here for my holidays? Potentially. It looks very beautiful and it feels very magical, but there is a lot of spirit energy around, and I don't know how much I could relax, knowing that it's very active everywhere.
I think I would come here if I was going like a sort of travel holiday where I just came and we were like touring around to see different places.
Yeah.
I don't think I could stay here for like a long time.
No. But it's lovely. It's lovely. It's a very relaxing, peaceful, beachy holiday. You just go to the beach and have ice creams.
Whitby.
Whitby. Good old Whitby.
Well, my experience last night wasn't quite the same as the girls. I couldn't sleep until 5 o'clock in the morning, and it was because spirit was keeping me awake. It wasn't because I'd had too much coffee and too much caffeine, because I don't drink coffee. But this thing kept on tapping me on the head every time I started to nod off, and I just couldn't sleep. So I got so bored, I started taking pictures, and I took, about a dozen. And there was one in particular of a sort of silvery haze at the end of my bed, which I tried to reproduce by taking a few more pictures of the sheets to see if I could get the light to bounce off it and reproduce what it may have been, but I couldn't. It was definitely something very anomalous there, because no other reason for it. It must have been a spirit. So that was my experience last night. No sleep, new day, new place to visit. I hope you've enjoyed our visit to Whitby as much as we have, and that you'll join us next time on Ghost Next Door.